My name is Shari Meischen. I retired from a corporate career about 2 years ago, and these days I'm loving life on a horse property here in Texas with my wonderful husband of 21 years, Herb, the love of my life. I grew up in a traditional church kind of home. We went to church every Sunday, but didn't really have a relationship with God at that point in my life. It was really about Sunday service, and that was it. You know, life took over in college, and I had other priorities, and church and God just kind of fell off my radar for a long time. I graduated from college, went on to a successful career, and truly had a pretty charmed life. It was successful, but there was always something kind of missing, and quite frankly, I kind of kept God on the back burner. Sort of would bring God out if I needed God for something, if I get into any kind of trouble. Hey, God, can you bail me out? God, you stay over here, I've got my life. And I'm gonna run my life, I'm doing okay. And that was pretty much the way it was for me for a very long time. And then in November of this year, I developed some issues with anxiety. And I went to my doctor, and they prescribed a medication for me that would help me with the anxiety. And it did, initially. And I really thought, okay, life is good. But unfortunately, I had a problem with the medication. In about 4 weeks' time, I developed a pretty bad dependency on it. And I tried several times. I knew I needed to come off the medication, and I tried several times on my own to find a way to stop, and I couldn't. And I made a very painful decision that I wasn't able to do this on my own, and I checked myself into a treatment center. It was quite possibly the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was one of the nights there in the dark when you're scared and you don't know what's going on, that I really realized I wasn't by myself anymore. That someone was there with me, someone was guiding me, and someone was going to help me through it. And I could just hear the words over and over in my head, be still and know that I'm God. And I think those words got me through that ordeal. And I found a relationship with God that I hadn't had before. It's been 3 months since I checked into that treatment center. And when I came home, the first few weeks were kind of rough. You know, I was left to try to figure out how I was going to get through it. A very good friend of mine, Lydia Bagley, actually invited me to come to North Point with her. And we came in, and I was still pretty raw from coming off the prescription medications. And then the music started to play. I just started to cry. I felt like I was home. Yeah, and then that first week happened to be a starting point orientation. And we knew that we wanted to be part of that group. We wanted to explore our relationship with Christ. And for me, starting point was a turning point in my life. There was a chapter, and it was on Jesus. And all of a sudden, as I was doing that chapter, I got it. And I understood the sacrifice that was made for me. And my heart, I was overwhelmed, but it was a good overwhelmed. My heart was so full that day, I literally just burst into tears because I really understood what it all meant. And it was when I understood the sacrifices he made for me that I also knew that if I gave it all over to him, I was gonna be okay. And the stress is lifted. It feels like the burden got lifted off my shoulders. And I woke up and said, wow, I feel pretty good. And not every day's great. There's still some challenges with healing from that kind of medication, but every day really is wonderful. I'd like to thank first and foremost my husband, who has been my rock through some really hard times, and Krista and Rob, who really have opened my heart and helped me to know Jesus in a whole different way. And Lydia Bagley, you know, she's the one who convinced me to come to North Point in the first place, you know, and without that, we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I've gotten to see the video, and having been on the other side of you for the last couple of years and the last 8 months, can't say how proud I am of you. And it's an honor to be standing here to do this for you today, and I know Krista feels the same way. So with that, I have to ask, Have you placed your trust and faith in Jesus Christ?
Yes.
Then we baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.